Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper. Hi, welcome to another episode of Teamster Power Reality Check. Today, we have a guest, Eric Patterson, 20-year pipeline worker, 12-year Teamster, been a steward, and he's got a lot of things to say. But how are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So there's a bunch of things we've talked about. What I want to start off with is we talked about double dues, right? So you don't just pay to one union hall, right?
No, we pay dues like my local. I pay 100, and it's based off of 2.5% of what your hourly rate is.
Yeah.
So I pay 106 from my local hall, and then whatever jurisdiction we're working in, you pay that 2.5 or a service due, Dobie due. There's many different words for it, but you pay that hall as well.
So you have a local, and then the area you're working in has a local, and you have to pay dues to both.
Correct.
Okay.
That's just yeah. I mean, I just that's ridiculous. But I mean, along those lines, so it's not 12 months continuous working, so that prevents you from holding any office or anything like that, right?
Correct. Yeah, in most areas, especially up in the northeast, you have the winter months and the frost laws on the highway, and most times they do not build the pipeline through those months, and so we have to take a withdrawal. And because of that withdrawal, then that makes you ineligible because of the 24-month consecutive month rule.
So let me ask you this: you've been a Teamster for 12 years. You take your withdrawals whenever you're not working. If say it's up in the north or whatever, and they won't let you dig or anything. So
or when there's no work, which we experienced that with the past administration.
Yeah.
That's another day, another subject.
So my question is like you're paying dues, sometimes like what sounds like twice the dues to different locals, and you're not even able, like as a pipeline worker, you're not even able to be considered for an office, whether at the local or even at the IBT level. So you're paying dues, and nobody from the pipeline Teamsters are even in a position to represent the other pipeline Teamsters.
Now there is, I'd say, there is some Teamsters that may go from, let's say, pipeline to, and then when there's no pipeline work, they go to heavy haul, the heavy haul road division or other divisions that would keep their book active.
Gotcha.
So I'm not going to say that there's none of us that would be eligible, but in my situation, and the majority of us are 100% pipeline Teamsters. That's all I do.
Yeah.
Is pipeline. So to answer your question, the majority of us, no, we wouldn't be eligible.
Okay.
There is a few of us that some of them even go back to UPS and work UPS.
So let me ask you something. So we were talking before, and you said, you were told that it was unique, right? Your situation. So if it's unique, then why wasn't that put in the contract because of that unique detail, right? Because the way it works, I don't understand why nothing was put in there because of that. I don't.
Well, not only should it be in our contract, but it should be in the Teamsters Constitution. And it falls back on the Constitution. It's a constitutional rule. So to make any changes that high up in the Teamster union, I guess it would have to go through the GB or file an injunction, which I've actually considered
Well, I believe something should have been in there. It shouldn't have to come down to you have to file something, because your situation is unique. There should have been something unique in the contract, right? So and again, it's with the IBT and the Pipeline Contractors Association, and I just that boggles my mind. Here's another thing that we talked about: the no striking. When myself and Garfield saw that, we were like, huh? At any level, there's no striking?
Yeah, that's Article 28, and I know that article well. Work stoppage, no striking, um, and it says in there that if anybody promotes any kind of work stoppage, slowdown, or whatever, that the contractor can actually file in any jurisdiction, meaning the courts, to find you personally liable for the cost of work stoppage. It says it in Article 28.
Oh, I mean, normal work stoppage, like no one, like a UPS, no one can just, have a work stoppage, but we can, if there's a contract and, and we have a strike authorization, you guys can't even do that. That's absolutely nuts. Where's
Yeah,
I mean, that takes away your power. It takes away any power.
takes away the
Wow,
bite.
mind boggling.
Yeah,
Well,
it takes away the bite.
What good? The bite.
mm,
Yeah, I mean,
yep,
if you have any type of vicious dog or whatever, and it has no teeth, what fear do you have of it?
yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Company gets to do whatever they want, right? I mean, and but that's something we'll get to after we get through these. So another thing is you're saying that you can't vote on the contract. How does that process work? So you can explain this to other people who don't know how that works.
Okay, to my recollection and my years in questioning, and I do a lot of questioning, and I speak very
Mm.
loudly.
Yeah.
The procedure is that the Pipeliners Contractor Association, which is all the companies that build pipelines, all the construction companies, they are a member of this, and that is who the director of building trades and the director of pipeline negotiate with to come up with our 3-year contract every year. And when all those agree on, okay, this looks good, we're going to send that off to our halls, and they don't send it to every Teamster hall. I was told by the current director and the previous director that those agreements are sent to the halls in which pipeline work has been prevalent and current. And they send them to those halls, and then the principal officer of those halls get a thumbs up or a thumbs down from their Teamsters rank and file in that hall. I don't believe that there's a single hall that actually take a vote on paper or otherwise, and I I do not believe that there has ever been a agreement rejected, because if the two parties sitting at the top of the table agree, why are they going to reject their own agreement when we're not voting on it as rank and file? We're not voting on it. It's here's your contract, and it's shoved down our throats. We have no say.
So you're paying double dues, five
No. Yep.
5% of your hourly wages, basically. Of
Yep.
your,
You can't go on strike.
you can't go on strike. You can't hold office, and you can't vote on your own contracts.
Wow. I mean, there's no words. There's no words. I mean, that's and no
Yeah.
one
This
like
isn't
this is the way
funny.
it's always been.
Yeah,
No,
this
I
this
mean
this isn't funny.
it's so
No.
unhinged that you can't help but laugh.
Yeah,
And the problem is, and this is what we say, the only thing that makes us Teamsters paying dues in our health and welfare. That's it. Because the work that's going on, we are getting stomped on by the other trades. They're taking our work. and you bring it up to international. And I've been told several times, well, we don't want to knock the wheels off the cart. Just we're coming to the end, and they not most of the times, the majority of the time, they will not press the issue.
Knocking wheels off the cart's what Teamsters are about.
That's what we do, right? That's what we do. I don't.
Well, unfortunately,
I just,
not in our
where's the
division.
fight?
Now,
My
and I want to
God.
make something and I need to make this very clear, because this is a conversation that Mr. Sean O'Liar and myself had. I'm not divisive towards Teamsters. I love Teamsters. I do. I love being a Teamster. I love my brothers and sisters. I love working out in the field. But he made a comment to me before he was elected that all he sees is me tearing down Teamsters. No, I'm not tearing down Teamsters. I'm telling you what is wrong with our division. And I told him, if you don't like it, then fix it. And that's not, I'm not, and I said, you show me where anything that I'm saying is not true. And hey, I'll correct it. If you can show me I'm not true, if you don't like it, fix it. He called me a keyboard cowboy. That's a whole other segment as well.
Even before he was president, he was calling you names.
He was actually in my Pipeline Teamsters group, him and Fred both. And before he was elected, he'd never pipelined. He, just like most of the Teamsters.
Yeah.
Most of the Teamsters aren't even aware there's a pipeline division.
Yeah.
But him and I would talk pretty frequently, actually, and he would have questions, and we would conversate back and forth, whether it was phone calls or messenger, what have you. And I would tell him the things that was going on, and then Fred even commented in the group, "We hear you loud and clear. I'm going to be getting in touch with you. We're going to be making some drastic changes." And as soon as they was elected, and then they went down to Louisiana on one of our pipeline jobs and told everybody there will be no concessions in my administration. We don't buy our seats. We are Teamsters for a reason. 7 months later, he allowed his director to sign this Texas initiative. 7 months later.
So that's the next thing. And then when I know myself and Garfield, when we saw this, we were just, I mean, everything that we've talked about just blew our minds. But the Texas initiative, explain to everyone what the Texas initiative is. Just break it down, nice and simple.
Okay. Well, previous to the Texas initiative, it was called the Market Recovery Agreement, MRA. And what that was the unions, all four trades, because we work with the operators union, the laborers, and the pipe fitters, the welders. They was trying to get more of a hold union, get these jobs. The unions was, because they had lost their hold in the South. All these jobs was going to non-union companies. So they come out with this market recovery agreement, and this Texas initiative is an extension of that. The previous agreement, we had a 25% cut in our hourly wages. We didn't vote on that. Nobody voted on that. It's in our contract where they can just cut our wages at will. So that didn't last long, but I'm hearing that they still are doing some of these jobs under market recovery. Anyway, with the new administration, they come up with this Texas initiative, which reduces our hourly rates for the three groups 7%. It doesn't reduce our benefits, what's paid into our benefits, but it does reduce our rates to 7%. So if you have an agreement that says this is what, and it's a contractual agreement that says you're going to pay your guys $36 and some odd cents an hour, and that's in the agreement. Well, there's an addendum in our contract that says that they can change that. So what the hell makes us union?
That's like when something like competition, like we have competition in the UPS contract. So because of that, because of the competition, your rate gets knocked down by 7%, basically, right?
Exactly. And what's happening is nobody, because see, we travel. I'm not working it. I don't sleep in my own bed. We
Yeah.
travel for work. So, and what's happening is when the rates, you look at it this way, when they're offering a guy to run a flatbed and haul all kinds of fall off, what have you, out to the right of way at 20 some dollars an hour, I'm telling you, flatbed work is hard. All the chaining, the strapping, all that stuff, $23 an hour. And you have to travel 1,600 miles to get there, and you're going to do it for $23 an hour. Why wouldn't you stay in your own bed and haul gravel at a gravel pit for $18 an hour?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's economics.
Wow.
Who the hell's going to do that? And then not to mention, it costs us $1,000 a month to put our campers in a lot and pay our bills here. Plus, we have our home bills
No
on top.
reimbursement.
Well, we get a $20 a day reimbursement per diem. You know what the operators
20?
get?
$20
Yeah.
a day.
That's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let me give you a slap in the face.
We never used to get any.
It's like
until we started complaining at our conference and saying, well, this MRA, this shit's killing us. You can't. So my point was they can't get anybody to come to these jobs. So what they do, there's one local that's real famous about it. They have these hiring fairs where they sign up new Teamsters, train them, and put them to work from that hall right there. Well, that's all fine and dandy. There's a reason nobody's filling those positions that's already Teamster, pipeline Teamsters. It's because it doesn't pay. So then what happens? You just hired 20 some new pipeline Teamsters, and then when that job is over with in their district, they're going to want to come out and work somewhere else.
Away from someone else. God almighty.
We don't, and there's no, we don't have a hiring hall. There's no list. There's no seniority. No, nothing. You find your own work.
Well, it's like a free for all.
I'm telling you.
I know you've been frustrated. I know when we spoke, I know how frustrated you are. That's why we wanted you on here because, people need to hear. People need to know that, and all these years and something could have changed. Something should have changed. A lot of things should have changed. We don't know to what extent, but a lot of things, just the things we talked about, and there's so much more. But I mean, I don't know why. Well, it's like you were put on the back burner, the pipeline workers. I don't get that.
Well, there's only, let me see, before the election, the numbers we was right around 4,000 pipeline Teamsters. I can guarantee you that number has reduced by many because people have walked away. They don't want nothing to do with pipeline because we don't get represented. It's taxation without representation. And then you have these stewards that are brought from they go from one job to the next job to the next job, and they call them company stewards because they're not representing us. They're there to represent the company, and that's why that company keeps carrying them from job.
Yeah. Yep. I get you. We know exactly what you're saying, and it's sad. It's frustrating. It's so many things, and I mean, I don't even know how you deal with it, honestly.
And see, this is when Mr. O'Brien, I call him O'Liar, when he was running, we discussed all this, and we discussed what do we need to do to change this, and I brought him all kinds of options, and I never said that it would be easy. Like we said, we need our own hall. We need a pipeline Teamster hall that's nothing but pipeliners, and it's a transparent out of work list, and you get pulled from the top of each group. You can operate a low boy truck. You can, and we discussed all this, and he was like, yeah, that we've got to do something. And that's what's frustrating because basically he blew smoke right up my arse. And
Yeah.
And then once he was elected, and I went to my group, I included him in my Facebook group with all of us pipeline Teamsters and Fred, and I included them, and they seen everything that we was talking about. We hear you loud and clear, blah blah blah. And then after he was elected, literally turned his back on us and blocked me.
That's a shame.
I mean, that's par for the course. I mean, that's the Sean O'Brien that he's shown us since he got elected.
I'm sorry, but he is not, in my personal opinion, he is not a Teamster. He's a politician.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. We see that. A lot of people see that, and it's just making you promises. Just campaign promises. That's all it is, and that's baloney. That's God. Listen, Eric. We appreciate you coming on here and willing to speak about what's going on, how you're basically getting screwed, and that takes a lot. We appreciate that. I know it's and we're gonna have you on again.
Yeah.
We'll down the line, and we're hoping things can get better because every Teamster matters, right?
Exactly.
Every Teamster, no matter what company, it doesn't matter, and what profession, it doesn't matter. And for this to happen is an absolute travesty, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
I just want to reiterate too. Jeff and I are from UPS, but we named this podcast Teamster Power for a reason. Like, every Teamster matters. Like, we have our experience with UPS, but we also want to bring the troubles of other Teamsters to the forefront. So we're going to be trying to reach out to other crafts and stuff in the future to hear from them, and talk about what the things they do and don't like about their contracts.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about the UPS, the freight contracts, and the car haulers. I'm 100% a pipeline Teamster, just like most UPSers know nothing about my division.
Yeah, and that was one of my first comments when I looked at your contract. Our contract's 300 and something pages long, with the supplements and everything, and the pipeline one is 34 pages long.
Yeah.
So
here, let's just throw this at them and they'll be happy, right?
Yeah,
that's what it seems like, and it's been the same basically for all these years. And Sean had a chance to and said he was going to do things, but didn't do anything. So, I mean, that is what it is.
I also want to point this out. Like, these problems.
I'm sorry. He did. I'm sorry. He did worse than nothing. I would assume it was the same old. You would say it was the same old. If he did nothing, he did worse than nothing. He went and he lied to us. Then he turned his back on us. That's worse than doing nothing.
And I want to kind of add on that is, a lot of these problems, and we've said this before, didn't start with Sean O'Brien, but he ran on a slate to promise that he was going to change these things, and we haven't seen any changes. The pipeline Teamsters haven't seen any changes. UPS hasn't seen any changes. No. And I can't imagine many other people, if any, have. So, this is where our frustration comes from with Sean O'Brien. And if he's going to lie to us to get elected, then why should we vote for him again?
Well, that's it. Well, I mean, you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
that's it. And it's not
voting.
Good. It's not
voting. Here's another problem. You brought up voting. If I can interject, voting, that's another problem for us, because most of the voting happens in what month?
November.
When's winter?
Yep. So y'all aren't paying. So y'all are on withdrawal. So y'all are on withdrawal, or you're paying, or either that, or you're paying your dues just to get to vote for however many months, just so you can have your words, your voice heard. Yeah.
Right, but the problem is, let's say, for instance, like right now, my local hall's in Minnesota. I live in Ohio. I'm working in Texas. So when it comes, even for my local hall in Minnesota, when it comes vote time, if they even send you anything that you can vote by mail, I'm not at home.
Yeah.
How am I going to get that registration to vote? And if I'm on withdrawal, then I can't even vote. I can just keep and I have to keep reiterating. I love my Teamsters, but the only thing anymore that makes us feel like Teamsters is when we have to pay double dues, and we watch our work being walked on.
We get it. You
Yeah.
love the Teamsters. You love the idea of, like we do, of protecting members. It's an international brotherhood of Teamsters. And when that's not happening, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. And that's not the way this should be. And it doesn't have to be. I don't know, to what extent it can make it better, but it can be better. I mean, we can clearly see that that contract can be better. So, but we will have you on again, and we'll talk again. Now, people, once we publish this, people will be able to really see what's going on, and just another group of people that have been screwed by the current administration. Right? That's it.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. And listen, speaking out doesn't make you a bad Teamster. It means that makes you a good Teamster. You speak up, and if you just sit there and don't say anything, that's when there's a problem.
Yes.
You need to speak up, and you speak for yourself. You speak for others. That's what we do, right?
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir. And it's become and I accepted the fact that I am vocal and I knew when I started my Facebook group and everything that there would be those that didn't like it, and it might, but my work ethic always spoke for itself. I never had any problems going to different pipeline jobs because I'm good at what I do.
All right. Well, listen, Eric, like I keep saying, we really appreciate you coming on here and speaking about what's going on. It takes a lot. Again, you're speaking up, and we appreciate it. So, thank you, Eric, for myself and Garfield. Everyone have a good day.
Thank you.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.